Thank you for calling the office of Senator Elizabeth Warren in Washington, D.C. So we can best serve you, please listen carefully to the following menu options. If you're calling from Massachusetts and would like to share your opinion with the senator, please press 1. Please press 2. Please press 3. Please press 4. Please press 5. For all other inquiries or to speak to a member of our staff, please press 6. Thank you for calling.
Wait while I transfer your call.
Thank you for reaching out to Senator Warren's D.C. office. After the tone, please leave a brief message summarizing your thoughts, and be sure to include your full name, phone number, email, and mailing address. Thank you again for calling, and have a great day.
Hi, Senator. My name is I live at phone number, and I was wondering why she hasn't called for an immediate arms embargo to Israel and sanctions against Israel. I want to share yesterday the words from Francesca Albanese, who is the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in the Occupied Territories. She states, there are reasonable grounds to believe that the threshold indicating the commission of the crime of genocide against Palestinians as a group in Gaza has been met. I implore member states to abide by their obligations, which start with imposing an arms embargo and sanctions on Israel, and so ensure that the future does not continue to repeat itself. And as a constituent, I just am particularly appalled that Israel is rejecting aid trucks from the United Kingdom, an ally, and Israel is also rejecting aid trucks from Doctors Without Borders. And I'm also appalled that Israel has stated their intention to make Gaza a place where no human being can exist. As her constituent, I condemn genocide, and I expect her to demand that our government impose an immediate arms embargo and sanctions on Israel in compliance with international law.
You have reached the maximum length for a recording. To send this message, press pound or hang up. To play it, 3. Your message has been sent. If you would like to try and extend...
So today, in my second video on YouTube, I wanted to share why I personally am comfortable using the term genocide to describe what is going on in Israel, which wasn't always the case, and what's changed over time. In the past, I've called it war crimes, and the reason I've called what Israel is doing war crimes is because we can objectively analyze what's going on and see that their treatment of civilians, their indiscriminate bombing, their intention to cut Gaza off from food and water and electricity and all that, that directly harms civilians, and it's intentional, and they didn't have to do that in order to accomplish their objectives of defeating Hamas. That all amounts to war crimes. It's the war crime of collective punishment. Basically, I am a person who wants to try and follow what the leading authorities in the world are stating. And generally, so long as there's good authorities and they're not political authorities, you can trust that. For example, just a quick example, there was a point in 2020 when COVID-19 went from being an epidemic to a pandemic. At a certain point, a key condition for a pandemic was met, which is that it was basically international and it was just spreading to different countries, right? And I think that what we've done here is we've crossed a new threshold in this war in which we've gone from war crimes to genocide. The key difference that I'm seeing is the intention to starve the civilian population. So I mentioned in my call that, Israel is rejecting aid shipments from the United Kingdom, who is a trusted ally and who is not known to send, terrorist equipment in their aid trucks. So why are they doing that exactly? I also mentioned in my call that Israel has denied aid trucks from Doctors Without Borders. Again, an organization with just a pristine record of helping people in need, helping civilians, not doing any harm. And that's the fundamental nature of doctors. Their goal is to not do harm. It's to help people survive. So the only real plausible explanation for why Israel would, number one, state their intention to not allow food or water into a space populated by civilians. And then number two, literally block allies from getting aid into that space and literally block doctors from getting essential medical equipment into that space is to destroy the population of that space. And I want to point out another important thing about the definition of genocide. With genocide, it doesn't have to be a Holocaust. It doesn't have to be Hitler trying to wipe out 100% of the Jews. It can actually just be a country that thinks we'd like some more beachfront property. Therefore, you know what, we'll crush you and we'd like to try and get you to move out to another country. Those are also real examples of genocide. I do understand why some people are really hesitant to use a word that is as loaded as genocide, because you want to respect the people who have died in the Holocaust or who've died in other genocides. But that respect should never stop us from using a word to describe what we are seeing. Because what's most important that we take away from the Holocaust, what's most important that we take away from past genocides and injustices is what we can do today, right now, when we see an injustice. So I think it's really important to call things by what they are. These are sunglasses. And to me, as an English speaker, I feel confident that I can look at a pair of sunglasses and say, these are sunglasses. It doesn't matter what you say. I know, these are glasses you put on your face. They block the sun out. These are sunglasses. It's very much the same thing when it comes to this. You don't really actually need a special rapporteur to tell you these things if it's in plain sight and it's right in front of your eyes exactly what's going on. So the definition of genocide is the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. I think that this definition can be just as easily applied to a situation like this as me saying that these are sunglasses because they're glasses and they block the sun from your eyes. It's the deliberate killing of a large number of people. We can look at any number of quotes from Israeli politicians to see that they do in fact intend to deliberately kill a large number of people. They have said, quote, "There is no population in Gaza. There are 2.5 million terrorists. There is no meaning to give them warning missiles." And he said that on Israeli TV. We've got Ghassan Alain. He's an Israeli major general. He said, "Human animals must be treated as such. There will be no electricity and no water. There will only be destruction." Israel has deliberately tried to kill a large number of people. We've got Yitzhak Crozier, an Israeli MP, who said, "The Gaza Strip should be flattened, and for all of them there is but one sentence, and that is death." That's the deliberate killing of a large number of people. And when you combine that with the fact that now Israel has killed about 32,000 people, which is an accepted quote from, basically all aid organizations and even allies like the United States, I honestly think you'd be pretty crazy to say that Israel hasn't killed that many people. You clearly need to watch more videos about what's going on if you don't agree with that assessment. In reality, it's an undercount because there's people buried under rubble and they have not yet been counted in with the casualties. Israel has bombed a lot of buildings in Gaza, so there's a lot of people buried under rubble. There's going to be way more casualties that become apparent after the war is over. 32,000 by any reasonable measure is a large number of people, but when you count all the people under rubble and you're looking at 50,000 plus, that is certainly a large number of people. And when you factor in the fact that, humans can survive, shockingly, I think, some weeks with very minimal food, but at some point they just start dying. And so when Israel won't allow in aid trucks from the UK and Doctors Without Borders and other, aid organizations, when Israel won't allow that to happen, over the next few weeks, you're going to see a lot of additional people just start dying because they're they're out of energy. They don't have enough nutrition to continue living. And so I think what we're going to see is we're going to see our rates of death just start going up. And there may be a lag in which that's reported. But I think it's reasonable to assess that when this war is done, there's going to be over 100,000 people dead, right? But anyway, even with the amount that's confirmed dead right now, 30,000, that's valid to call that a large number of people. So to look at the next part of the definition. So it says the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group. It's no secret. Obviously, they're killing Palestinians. That is an ethnic group. And, one of the defenses that you'll hear is that Israel is fighting to defeat Hamas. And that's what they're doing. And yes, after a terrorist attack, they, I think, would have just cause to wage war against Hamas, which is obviously a terrorist organization that attacked them. But what then are they doing on the West Bank? And what were they doing when they gave money to Hamas in the first place? Israel actually gave money to Hamas, saying that their intention is to strengthen Hamas. That was part of their goal, right? And right now, there's, in addition to Gaza, as you know, Palestinians also live on the West Bank. And on the West Bank, Israel is approving settlements that they know involves stealing land from Palestinians, that they know also encourages basically these violent people called settlers who go after Palestinians. They will, shoot them. They'll burn their land. They will terrorize them until the Palestinians just basically run away from their property that they've owned. And then the settlers literally just steal their houses. They literally just move into the property that isn't theirs. And then Israel doesn't tend to do very well at actually punishing those settlers for stealing land, terrorizing people, or murdering Palestinians. So when you see the country Israel not just targeting Gaza, but also targeting the West Bank, it's pretty clear that they're actually targeting an entire ethnic group. And in addition, when you see Israel giving money to terrorists and then not adequately guarding their border and also angering the people in a population to such an extent by oppressing them and harming their civil rights and so on, until that group then actually launches a terrorist attack and then using that terrorist attack to go after them, I don't think that quite holds when you factor in the fact that Israel has intentionally fueled Hamas by limiting Palestinians' civil rights, occupying their territory for 70 years, and giving money to the terrorists who govern them. So it seems pretty clear Israel is attacking people of a particular nation or ethnic group. It's not just about killing Hamas. It is about killing Palestinian civilians. And finally, with the aim of destroying that nation or group. So aim has to be a part of this definition. And that's why I was sharing those quotes with you from Israeli politicians and military leaders. Human animals must be treated as such. Gaza will become a place where no human being can exist. We're fighting human animals and we're acting accordingly. We should have killed many times 20,000 people. We should have begun with a blow of 100,000. All of these indicate an aim to destroy the nation or group. When this war first started back in October, I actually Googled how many people are in Hamas. And I checked in ChatGPT. And I asked how many people are in the military branch of Hamas. There's not like 100,000 Hamas military fighters in Gaza. So the idea of beginning with a blow of 100,000 really goes to show that this is about actually killing Palestinians. It is not just about defeating Hamas. If it were just about Hamas, the genocide that's going on the West Bank wouldn't be happening. If it were just about defeating Hamas, Israel wouldn't have been funding Hamas in the first place. I know that a lot of people may still not want to use the word genocide, even though, just as with sunglasses, you can see it's a word that has a multi-part definition, but as English speakers, we can easily understand each part of the definition, and we can use a word like sunglasses confidently. So I think we should be able to use a word like genocide confidently as well. But I know there's going to be people who like still want to hear it. They want to hear it from the international community, and that's why I think it's important to look at what you're starting to hear at the UN with our officials in the UN calling this a genocide. But also just keep in mind, like, courts are not efficient, and also political systems are not efficient. So you're not going to necessarily get a court to just tell you that, you know what, this is officially a genocide. By the time that happens, all these people are going to be flattened, and this genocide is probably going to be over. So we shouldn't look at it in the rear view mirror, in my view. We need to be proactive. We need to, call sunglasses sunglasses. We need to call a genocide a genocide. We need to use our own human intelligence in order to call our elected leaders, and we need to tell them that we expect an arms embargo. We expect sanctions on Israel.